Josh Hart acquisition has just been as advertised. It's just been as advertised. And we switched it up a little bit this week because we're going with Josh Hart as a play of the week. Look, you could give it to Jalen Brunson damn near every week.
Oh, yeah.
But we got to talk about the impact that Josh Hart has had on this bench unit. 17 points per game this week, 62% shooting from the field, 64% from downtown. I thought that was even bigger, given the fact that he was coming in shooting 30% from downtown this season. He was solid, man, from beyond the arc, even in his debut game. 64% from downtown on some healthy volume, man. On some healthy volume, man. And we mentioned his ability to get the team going in transition. That was evident in every game. He made an impact there. Very tough, very physical. Got to the free throw line. So you got to be happy with what you see so far with Josh Hart, because he's come in here and fit in seamlessly with this team. Absolutely seamlessly. So that's a great job by him. 3 of 4 from the free throw line in both the Utah and the Brooklyn game. 2 of 3 from downtown against Utah. 4 of 6 from downtown against Brooklyn. And 3 of 5 from downtown against the Hawks. Good.
Yeah, I mean, I want to see the 3-point shooting stick around, because that's what I'm curious about. You know, in that Josh Hart article I wrote for KnicksFanTV.com, I noted that when he gets more than 4 3-point attempts per game, it's actually not bad. He's shooting something like minimum like 34%. We saw like 37, 38% as a 3-point shooter. This time in Portland, he wasn't given the green light to shoot. You saw he was struggling. Only 2 attempts per game. Now, during these 3 games, he's averaging close to 5 attempts from 3-point land. So I would like to see that type of volume. You know, Tom Thibodeau has given him the green light. As Josh Hart says, he's got the ultimate green light to rip it from 3. So let's see hopefully his confidence continues, because we're going to need the 3-point shooting. Before we, end of last week, last post game that we did, talked about how the Knicks are now 17th. Like when you look from the time frame, what was it? I forget the time frame. I have to look back, but they're now 17th. They're moving up the ranks in their 3-point shooting. They're starting to come around. So with that, I want to see the Knicks not only improve in that category, because they're going to need it for the playoffs, but can Josh Hart add to that? Because if you have to guard this team from 3, knowing that you have Brunson and Randall who can attack, and you like RJ who can get downhill, it just makes the game that much easier.
Absolutely. Hit the nail on the head. And as we talked about his transition game, if you look at these numbers when he was with the Portland Trailblazers, I mean, he was in the 80th percentile in transition in points per possession. They are 4 points better per 100 possessions while he was on the floor. 94th percentile in points plus per possession, plus 2.5. In the 100th percentile in transition frequency, meaning 1% of the possession started with a transition play, he was in the 100th percentile. In points per play in transition, he was in the 93rd percentile. How many points did the team score per 100 transition plays? They were a plus 16.5 with Josh Hart on the floor. Off of live rebounds, he's in the 97th. He was in the 97th percentile with Portland in points plus per possession. 100 percentile again in frequency off of live rebounds. The percentage of the team's live ball rebounds that led to a transition play, 10.9%. And then in the 98th percentile in points per play, they were plus 32.8. The points that Portland scored per 100 transition plays that came off a live rebound. Great numbers.
Great numbers.
So you're hoping he brings that effect to this team. You bring a Mitch back, who Blockness is on his way back. He's working. We just saw some video of him working without the cast. That's another person that can get those live rebounds for you and kick it out in transition. Hartenstein has been improving as well. So that's going to add a nice dimension to this team.
Yeah. We're going to need Josh Hart to continue to attack in transition. That's something that's been lacking on this team. We're still in the 20s when it comes to transition scoring. So with Josh Hart on this team, I'm looking to see if it will take a step up. Right now, when you're looking at points per game in transition, the Knicks are 23rd. And by the way, going just side note, for the 3-point shooting, it was since January 1st, since the Knicks are now ranked 17th in the league. So you can see that 3-point shooting is coming around. But getting back to Josh Hart and his ability to drive, transition, scoring, like we're going to need all of that, because this is where an area that the Knicks kind of struggle. Like we know we can do it. Like when we watch this team, it's the frequency that we want to see it. And for Josh Hart, a guy who can be a one-man show out in the open space, who can finish through contact, you just need another guy like that. I mean, you see how helpful it is when you have RJ when he's shooting well, right? And shout out to our guy KFTV Luke, who just showed through the beginning of February, RJ shooting over 60% right now around the rim. And another guy like that in Josh Hart, who averages over 60% finishing around the rim on the season. That's just the pressure that Tom Thibodeau likes, man. Tom Thibodeau likes guards that gets downhill. You're talking about 3-point shooting, looking for the corner, right? Just knock the shorter side for knocking down 3-pointers. That's essential. This is why Josh Hart is what Tom Thibodeau wants. All right. This is why he's a Tom Thibodeau guy. He's going to play hard-nosed defense. He's going to shoot the three. He's going to attack out in transition. He's going to go downhill. You would think that Tom Thibodeau went to a lab to create this man. And it's like, this is who I want. So, and we also know that out in Minnesota, I forget what podcast this was on, Josh Hart mentioned that Thibodeau actually wanted him in the draft when he was out in Minnesota. So we already know that there's been a connection right there from Thibodeau's side. So,
yeah, Tibbs loves him, man. Tibbs absolutely loves him. So, yeah. He's had a good week. I thought Josh Hart had a good weekend. Like we said, we could have gave this thing to Jalen, even Julius. We're gonna give it to the new acquisition, Josh Hart, who's coming in here and giving this team a boost. Knicks 3-0 this week, and he was a big component off that Knicks bench, man.